Here's something that will shock you. 99 out of 100 people who try to beat the stock market actually underperform it. Not by a little, by a lot. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost returns over their lifetime. And the weird part? There's a single fund that mathematically guarantees you'll be in that top 1% of performers, and it costs almost nothing to own. That fund is the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, and it might be the only investment you'll ever need. Let me show you why. My name is your name. And on this channel, we talk about skills that make you money and investments that grow it. If that's your speed, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because we upload new strategies every week. So here's the thing about the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund. And I'm talking about VTI if you want the ETF version, or VTSAX if you prefer a mutual fund. This isn't some fancy hedge fund strategy or some algorithm, some Silicon Valley bro coded over coffee. It's the exact opposite. It's boring. It's simple. It owns a tiny piece of every single publicly traded company in America. We're talking 3,500 plus stocks in one fund. Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, your neighbor's startup, it's all in there. And here's why that matters. When you own the whole market, instead of picking individual winners, you eliminate the biggest enemy to wealth building: yourself, your emotions, the urge to sell when the market crashes, the FOMO, to buy when everyone's talking about crypto. This fund forces you to stay the course. Let's talk numbers, because this is where it gets interesting. Let's say you're 35 years old and you have 30 years until retirement. You start with $500 a month into VTI. That's $6,000 a year. Sounds reasonable, right? Over 30 years, that's $180,000 of your money going in. But here's the miracle of compound interest. Assuming a 10.7% average annual return, which is the historical average of the total stock market, you'd end up with $1.04 million. That's your $180K turning into $1 million. The market did $860,000 of the work for you while you slept. Now here's where most people get trapped. They think, okay, if I pick the right individual stocks or hire a fund manager, I can beat that 10.7%. And that's the lie that costs them everything. The data is absolutely brutal on this. Morningstar studied 5,000 actively managed mutual funds over 15 years. After fees and taxes, 90% of them underperformed a simple total market index fund like this one. 90%. That's not luck, that's math. And the fees on VTI are insane in the best way. We're talking 0.03% expense ratio. If you invest $100,000, you're paying $3 a year in fees. $3. Compare that to the average actively managed fund charging 1%. And that's $1,000 a year on that same $100K. Over 30 years, that fee difference could cost you $40,000 to $50,000 in lost returns. You're literally paying someone to underperform. But here's the pattern interrupt. I promised you, fees aren't even the biggest reason active managers lose. It's taxes. When a fund manager buys and sells constantly, trying to beat the market, those trades trigger capital gains taxes every single year. VTI, on the other hand, barely trades. It's tax efficient by design. That's another $20,000 to $30,000 you keep that active investors lose. Let's get practical now. How do you actually buy this thing? If you want the ETF version, VTI, you go to any brokerage. Fidelity, Schwab, E-Trade, Webull, doesn't matter. You open an account, usually for free, and you can buy it just like a stock. One share costs around $250 to $270 right now. You can set up automatic monthly investments and literally forget about it. That's it. Done. If you prefer the mutual fund version, VTSAX, it's the same fund, just a different structure. Same holdings, same 0.03% fee, same results. The minimum investment is usually $1,000 to start, but after that, you can add as little as $50 a month. Here's the second pattern interrupt. Doing nothing is actually the winning strategy. The investors who made the most money, they bought, held, and didn't touch it. The investors who constantly traded, who tried to time the market, who jumped in and out, they crushed their returns in the wrong direction. Your biggest advantage isn't intelligence or having some secret insight. It's patience and letting compound interest do the work. Think of it like this. You know how a snowball gets bigger as it rolls down a mountain? It's not getting bigger because the snow is coming faster. It's bigger because every rotation of that ball picks up more snow, and that new snow stays on the ball. Your money does the same thing. Your $6,000 this year isn't just your money next year. It's your $6,000 plus whatever gains it made, and that whole amount earns gains next year. And that whole new amount earns gains the year after. It's exponential, not linear. That's why 30 years is magic, but 5 years feels pointless. So here's what I want you to do right now. If you don't have $1,000 to start with $500. If you can't do $500 a month, do $100. This isn't about some giant lump sum. Most millionaires aren't born. They're built $100 or $500 at a time, consistently, for decades. VTI is the vehicle that makes that actually work without all the stress. If this video changed how you think about investing, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're serious about building wealth. We drop new strategies every single week, and the algorithm hates us, so subscriptions are how you actually see this stuff. Drop a comment with your biggest money question. I read every single one and might feature it in the next video. Remember, this is not financial advice. Always consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions. But statistically, you're probably better off buying VTI and not consulting anyone at all. Peace.